Clinton, you were watching the game between Man City and Sunderland. We'll talk about the significance of what happened with Arsenal earlier and their win this afternoon. But we need to talk about the man we just heard from, Ryan Shirky, in that game. Most touches of any City player, 2 assists, 6 chances created as well. He was sensational, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was exciting. He coming for Reinders, and Reinders can feel a bit disappointed because he scored in midweek. But Pep seems to rotate the two of them at the moment. But no, he's got some ability, Shirky. He was a big player in France, and yeah, he's coming over. It takes a bit of time to come over and adapt. He's an international, so Deschamps relies on him. So he must have ability to get into that French squad, and yeah, he has got some natural ability. He can cause a lot of problems, and he was showcasing his ability. He's not afraid as well, so he's not afraid. He gets on the ball and he wants to make things happen at the moment. But yeah, I thought he was outstanding. You see Phil Foden's reaction when Foden scores the header from his great little Rabona that he does and the little trick. Even Foden says, I can't believe it. You're nearly as good as me, but keep trying.
It was an amazing piece of skill, wasn't it?
No, it was brilliant, to be fair. He just sat down the defender. And he can just cross it normally, but he just does the little Rabona. And the header from Phil Foden's outstanding. Into the roof of the net.
What's that face for, Sherwood?
It's easy, isn't it? I mean, he's a professional footballer, isn't he? I mean,
he should be able to do it. Yeah, of course he should. But it was sometimes it's a bit simple.
Never tried it because it's like ludicrous, but... Not that I couldn't do it.
We need to touch on Phil Foden as well. I mean, his 5 goals in his last three. We talked about him at the start, being back to his very, very best. Yeah. I mean, a little debate about whether he starts for England in the World Cup. He absolutely has to go because he's in amazing form.
Yeah, there's no ifs or buts about it. If Thomas Tuchel doesn't take Phil Foden, it's crazy.
Something's
because
wrong.
Yeah, but listen, as Merson, Tim and that, we were talking about it earlier on, he's in great form now. He needs to continue that form for the rest of the season because it's come nearer to the World Cup. But if he continues this form, it's Phil Foden that we've seen of previous seasons where he's been outstanding and he won Player of the Year and stuff like that. He's a joy to watch. He's got so much ability, the way he can manipulate that ball. And you know what he's doing now, Si? He's getting into the box and scoring more goals. And it's not a thing we questioned with Phil Foden because we know he can score goals, but he kind of had a drop-off, and now he looks like he's back to his very best.
Well, since the start of November, 7 goals and 2 assists, which is more than any other Premier League player in all competitions for Phil Foden. He's absolutely flying at the moment. We'll come on to Sue to talk about that Villa-Arsenal result earlier, but they're absolutely in this title race. We never said they weren't, but we've worried about their credentials as to whether they can push Arsenal and indeed overtake them. Brilliant performance today. They responded to what happened at Villa Park, but defensively at times, they still look so vulnerable, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They still make mistakes. I'm not saying Sunderland created a lot of chances because they didn't, but Donnarumma had to make a big save from Isidore where Ruben Diaz, he takes a chance. And that's how Man City want to play, and they've always played when they're trying to play out from the back, and Isidore does well, but the save from Donnarumma is outstanding, and they're going to be like that. They're going to be open and expansive, and that's just how Man City are. And I feel like this season side, they're just going to have to outscore teams because, as we said, they're conceding a lot of goals. It'll give them confidence, a clean sheet.
Well, our friend, the Opta supercomputer, doesn't fancy them much, 16.1%.
Yeah, but that's because Arsenal have been relentless and have been outstanding, to be fair.
But they've got a nice run coming up. They've got a massive match to come away at Real Madrid midweek of the Champions League. But after
and they need to get a result in the next 3 games.
They're under pressure, aren't they?
They are under pressure.
And then it's Crystal Palace at home. They've got Brentford in the League Cup at home to come after that. And then West Ham at home, Nottingham Forest away and Sunderland away before that home game against Chelsea. It's a good, decent run to keep the pressure up on Arsenal.
I know it's a decent run when Merce looks at me and raises his eyebrows through his glasses. So I know it is a very decent run when he does that.
This is the most animated he's been since 3 o'clock.
Yeah, when he did that to me, I know there's something because he's been sleeping on that game. So when his eyes started raising, I'm thinking, yeah, he knows the title race is on. And them run of games they've got, they're very good for Man City. And obviously, you look at Arsenal. Arsenal have some all right fixtures as well, but they've got Aston Villa to probably play in 2 or 3 weeks as well. But no, that big result for Man City. All they can do is keep winning football matches and putting pressure on Arsenal.
Right, so let's talk about the game you watched all those hours ago, watching that dramatic finish as Aston Villa beat Arsenal by 2 goals to 1. I mean, what a finish from Emery Buendia. Chaos in the area right at the end, 95th minute. He scores the winner, and the stadium absolutely erupted. I mean, Mikel Arteta, it's now 6 defeats against Aston Villa. The only other side he's lost more times against is, of course, Manchester City. So why do Aston Villa, like we saw a couple of seasons ago, seem to have Arteta's number at the moment?
I suppose we can look back and talk about Unai Emery, which we spoke about at the start of the show, and what a very good manager is, and tactically how good he is, and how detailed and meticulous in all of his planning. I probably would say a draw would have been a fair result of the game. It was a brilliant game. You got two top teams. You could just tell were so in form, and it kept going from one to the other. You kept coming to me and I was saying, oh, Arsenal are on top now, and then you'd come to me 5 minutes later and I'd say Aston Villa are on top. So it was a very tight game, and it was real small margins. Yeah, I think of, Aston Villa's goal where Matty Cash scored. Eza just switches off. He's looking at the ball, doesn't see the run, and little things like that, moments of quality. Buendia coming on, and we thought he was leaving, didn't we, in the summer? The way that Unai Emery's really getting the best out of him, it falls to him in the area. Last kick of the game, literally, and what a finish it was. So you just feel we spoke about our Aston Villa in the title race. You just think that talk's going to intensify now after that result.
Well, Unai Emery said afterwards, they're not title contenders.
Yeah.
You can understand why he's going to say that, but then you have to look at their league position, sitting in third. They've closed the gap on Arsenal, and this run of form, 9 wins in 10, that alone makes you title contenders, given the position they're in.
Yeah, and he's obviously trying to take the pressure off his players as well, and he'll know only the squad of players that he's got. And I think we said, looking at it, do they have the squad to be able to compete with the likes of Arsenal in the long run? But the position that they're in, the form that they're in, the brilliant manager that they've got, of course you've got to say that they're in with a shout of competing at least. And I think he'll look in January and probably try and strengthen that squad and maybe bring in some loan players in the positions that he feels that he needs. But I think after this next run of games, we'll certainly see where Aston Villa are, because it's a really tough run.
Well, it's Basel to come in the Europa League, and then you're right, it's West Ham away, but Manchester United at home, Chelsea away, and then Arsenal away again. Were they to go to the Emirates and do what they did today, then they absolutely are title contenders.
I think we would all change our mind then, wouldn't we? I think if... would you? No, I'm sure, because you just think it is still a long season to go. But if they go and do that, of course. But just a brilliant result, a really good game of football. Of course, Arsenal are missing players, aren't they? The two centre-backs. Yes, they've been able to cope without them, but they do make a huge difference. So sort of having them back and having that quality, we've said the strength in depth has really helped Arsenal. But yeah, they'll be hoping that they can get them back soon.